We're going to go ahead and take a look at now the greatest common factor. And so you can see you've done this before in previous classes, especially way back in elementary school, but the greatest common factor of two um, or more non-zero whole numbers is the largest number that is a factor of both of them. And so we abbreviate that as GCF of AB or whatever two numbers. And if you think about where we implement the greatest common factor, again, many times it has to do with simplifying fractions. Later in algebra, we find the greatest common factor to simplify expressions and equations so we can solve them. But it all starts back here of the different methods we can use. And mostly in elementary school, we use this intersection method, which involves listing them out. And then you also then have a more advanced way, the prime factorization method. So let's take a look at this first. Example here, using both ways. So the greatest common factor, 42 and 24. We're looking for numbers that go into, right, that are factors, or 24 is divisible by each of these numbers here, 42 by these numbers here. And so what we see then is that the greatest common factor is 6. That's the largest number that goes into both of them, or divides both of those numbers. And when we say go into, we mean divides. The next thing is step 2, the prime factorization method. So what you do is you go ahead and write the prime factorization of each of those numbers. And then what you do here, you want to take, look at the factors that they have in common, and then take so they have a 2 and a 3, and then you take the smallest exponent. And that then gives us the the greatest common factor. Let's take a look at this example here on the side that I've started already. The 60 and 144. Instead of using the list out method, right, the intersections, you see what they have in common. What we want to do is, use the prime factorization. So we have this. And what you do is look for the factors they have in common. They have a 2 and they have a 3 in common. And then you look to see what's the lowest exponent of these, 2 squared and then 3. So the greatest common factor of 60 and 144 would be, sorry, I don't want to put a 3 squared there, 3 cubed I mean, would be 3. And so the greatest common factor is going to be 4 times 3, or 12. That would be the GCF of those numbers there. Now, we have a kind of a cool technique here to find the GCF. I think I'll say that for another video.